Hey, this is Ray with Train, Protect, Overcome. Today we're going to do a review on Silky Saw's saw. It's a Gomboy Kuro. Just got it in. Haven't had a chance to test it out yet. Actually I had it for a while. I just haven't had time to come up into the woods to test it out. I like coming up here, just relaxing, nobody around. I decided to get this because I was looking at some reviews online about, hey, what kind of saw can I take out when we go camping, hiking, off-roading? Sometimes when we go off-roading or during that right after winter, sometimes the trees are down, branches are down, so sometimes we got to cut the branches out so we can get through the road. So I was looking at what kind of saw can I use. So I went out there, like I said, saw some reviews, and I saw somebody doing a review on the Gomboy Kuro from Silky Saws. This saw was made in Japan, the blade probably about 9.5 inches, it says, and it looks like this is the 40th anniversary limited edition. So yeah. Anyways, when you get the saw, there's a case inside. So that was the other reason I got it, is because they were saying out of all the Silky saws, it's probably one of the few or only the ones that have a case for the saw. And I wanted a way to protect it, so I'm going to put it either in my backpack that I use for when we go out camping, hiking, off-roading, or I'm just going to throw it in my toolbox in the back of the bed. But this will keep it from getting all scratched up with all the rest of my recovery gear or waterproof. So you also get a couple stickers in the box. So there's a sticker there. There's a couple of other stickers there, and a couple more there. So I'm gonna put this back in the box. And then like I said, the case, it's a pretty nice case. It's pretty sturdy. The plastic is pretty dense, so it'll definitely protect that saw. The case does have a couple of locks in there. So the first one is this rubber one. You just pop this out, and it keeps the lid from opening it up. And the second one is the side one here. You just pop this up here. So you open up, and the saw's right there. But I like that double kind of redundant lock here. So there's this rubber one, like I said, that you pop it off. And then the side one, you just pop that out, and then it opens up the lid there. So it's pretty nice. And then you just pop out the saw. So with this here, with the saw, like I said, the saw blade is about 9.5 inches. I'm thinking the handle probably is about 9.5 inches also here. When you open it up here, there's one angle you can have it at, and there's another angle you can have it at. So if you're leaning over, you don't have to have it, but you have it there. But from here, 9.5 inches. Like I said, I'm guessing the handle is about same 9.5 inches. There is a button here, so it's kind of like a folding knife or folding blade you might have in your pocket. You push the button down, and you're able to close the blade down to keep it safe, or keep you safe from getting cut. When I open this up here to this angle here, it locks into place pretty good. That lock there, so I'm really trying to force it to close. It's not closing, so that's good. The handle here is made out of a material. I wasn't able to look this up to see what kind of material it is, but it has good grip. So if your hands get sweaty or wet and you're trying to saw some wood down for fire or something, it's a really good grip where you can grab onto it and your hand won't slide back and forth. The material, I'll have to look it up and see. I might add it later on in a different video to see once I look up what kind of material this is. But I know some saws, they have a plastic material or like a rubber material so your hands don't slip. But this one more it's almost like a felt kind of feeling a little bit. But like I said, I'll have to figure out what material this is over this handle. But it's really nice. It's comfortable. It isn't cutting into your hand or anything like that. But it's very comfortable and nice. There's also a hole at the very end where you can put a lanyard or a rope if you want to keep it around your hand. I don't have one now, or I'm not sure if I'm going to add one, but I might later on. But yeah, definitely there's a hole. You put a lanyard in, put it through your wrist, and then have additional support. So when you're sawing something, your hand doesn't slip off. So definitely really nice. The metal here, I'll have to figure out what the metal is made out of. I'll have to add it to a separate video. But once again, you can close this here and then fold it back down and close it and secure the blade so it doesn't cut anything. In this video, we're going to talk about the angle, the extra angle from down. This is a note, just a note for you when you edit this. We're going to talk about the angle of this blade, where if you're bending over, you can saw that way. One of the things I like about this saw also is that you can push this down and you can push this blade up a little bit more, so that if you're bending over to saw wood, you have that angle up for that blade, and you can saw that way instead of having to reach down even more and kind of match the height of that wood you're trying to cut down here. You can push this button, raise the blade up a little bit, and now you have that little extra angle up on the handle where you can cut that way too. So maybe save you a little bit of back, having to bend over a little bit more, but I like that there. It looks awesome. One thing I like about the handle too is it's not necessarily ergonomic, but you can see that it tapers up or in here in the middle, so you can get a real good grip on that handle there as you're sawing. And then in the back here, it widens up so that it prevents your hand from slipping off. So I really like that grip on this handle. And that I like how they widen the end here to do that. If you train in the Filipino arts, it's kind of like the barong, where it tapers out wide at the very end of the handle, which is, in the Filipino arts they call this the puño. So when you're striking, but it kind of like reminds me of that kind of design, where it kind of gets wider at the end and to prevent your hand from slipping, and it has that point at the end where you can strike. Well, that's just besides the point, but that's what I like about the handle too. Like I said, I like when blades have ergonomic handle, but this one isn't. But it tapers in the middle where you get to have a good grip there, and that it has a wider end here so that your hand doesn't slide off. Like I said, it has that good grip there, and you push this button down, that you can bring that blade up, and then when you're leaning over trying to saw something, you have that extra angle upward of the handle, and you don't have to bend over so much as you're sawing there. So that's one thing. That's one thing about the options of that blade when you're sawing something that I like. All right, so we're going to test out the saw on some wood here. Here's a down tree here, and here's a long branch. So once again, push this button, you can open it up at this angle here, or if you want a higher angle on that handle while you're sawing, you can push that button again and get that higher angle. I'm actually going to test out this higher angle this time and see what that feels like. So you notice that the handle is a little higher at an angle, and then it makes the blade a little bit lower, so I'm not trying to bend over too much. So let's see. This branch here is probably about an inch thick. Let's see how long it takes me to cut through this here. Yeah, so we're gonna start sawing. So yeah, pretty good. Blades, I don't feel don't see anything bent or anything, so it did it pretty well. I'm gonna close this up, but I'm gonna look at this branch here. Like I said, it's probably about maybe a little, almost an inch thick. One thing I found that we're testing it earlier actually, is that the cut here is really smooth. Sometimes with saws, you don't get this smooth cut here with some of the saws. It's actually, inside is really jagged sometimes. But with this saw here, it's actually really smooth. And you could see the cut line. There's really no cut line here. And you can see how smooth it is here. If I hold it up a little bit and then hold it to the side, look at the line on that cut there. It's really straight, except for this ending here where it just broke off towards the end of the cut. But look at how straight that cut is. Really no jags, and I can run my finger up and down. It's really smooth actually. It's really nice. Didn't really. Once I had a good grip on the branch, I started cutting. It didn't take too long at all for that to get the rest of the branch off. And then on this side, same thing, really smooth. But towards the end, when I was getting towards the end of the cut, it just broke off. So that's why you see this. But the beginning, it's just really smooth. The cut line is really even, and just did its job really well. All right, so once again, I'm going to open this up here. I'm actually, since I'm going to be a little bit lower when I'm cutting this, I'm going to once again use that higher angle. So I push the button, make sure it's locked into place. You'll hear the click. Once again, the handle's at an angle here while the blade is flat, which allows me to not have to bend over so much, and it gives me that angle to cut. I'm going to use the same branch, but we're going to go a little bit lower to the thicker part. This is probably about maybe 1.25 1.5 inches thick. So we're going to see how long it takes me to cut this part off here. Earlier it was almost an inch, probably about 1.5 1.25 here. So once again, I'm using a higher angle of the blade, of the handle to cut this. So let's see if I can get this down here. Let's start the cut here. Oh yeah, look how smooth that is now. I think earlier I had an issue cutting that one because it was wobbling so much up here, but with the sturdier base here, it's not wobbling so much down here. But that's a lot. Oh man, that's like butter right here. Look at that. It's cutting through. And there you go. Oh man, that was, once again, that cut line on the base here it's flat. There's no jagged edges. It's really smooth. On this end too, that came off, same thing. Really smooth. The only thing that broke off is just towards the end of the cut where it just broke off. But that when I was sawing that cut, oh, it's really smooth there. No jagged edges. It feels like, when you put your hand on a wood table or something, or wood desk, that's what it kind of feels like right there. It's just really smooth right there. So very impressed with the cutting skills on this thing. It took me a little bit longer to cut this thicker part. Like I said, it's probably about 1.25 inches maybe. But yeah, I wasn't really pushing down too much hard. I think if I pushed down a little bit harder while I was sawing to cut this off, it would have been a little bit quicker. But I was really just trying to, it just cut like butter actually. Really impressed with this Gomboy Kuro. Once again, it's made in Japan. It's by Silky saws. I saw different reviews on it online, and I was like, let me try this out. Yeah, because they impressed me with their reviews. So definitely highly recommend this saw. If you're thinking about what kind of saw to get for your bug out bag, for your hiking bag, camping bag, or just like if you're going off-roading, I'm going to throw this in my, probably in my toolbox in the bed, and use this with my recovery gear that I got back there. But once again, highly recommend the Silky saws. But yeah. Once again, push this button down and you have that different angle there, higher, click it into place, lock it, or push this down to close it, and you got that right there. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at Train, Protect, Overcome. Until next time, take care.